There comes a moment in every legend's career when the spotlight starts to feel different, not because the fans disappear, not because the music stops mattering, but because the artist begins thinking about what comes next. And for T.I., that moment appears to have officially arrived. After years of rumors, hints, interviews, and speculation, T.I. has finally confirmed the release date for what he says will be the final album of his career. The project is called Kill the King, and just hearing that title feels powerful, because if you followed T.I.'s journey from the beginning, then you already know that the word king has always been connected to his identity. For decades, T.I. proudly carried the title of King of the South. It wasn't just a nickname, it became part of hip-hop culture. It became part of his legacy. And now, after all these years, he's preparing to close the chapter with an album called Kill the King. Think about that for a second. A young rapper from Atlanta fought his way into one of the most competitive industries on earth. He survived industry politics. He survived criticism. He survived legal troubles. He survived changing trends. He survived entire generations of rap fans coming and going. And somehow, through it all, T.I. remained relevant. That's not easy. And hip-hop careers can disappear overnight, but T.I. stayed standing. Whether you remember Rubber Band Man, What You Know, Bring 'Em Out, or countless other records that dominated radio, there's no denying his impact. For many fans, T.I. wasn't just making hits, he was helping define an era when Atlanta was transforming into the center of hip-hop culture, an era when Southern rap was proving it could dominate the entire music industry, and T.I. was right there at the forefront. Now, fans finally know when this final chapter is arriving. According to T.I., Kill the King is scheduled to be released on June 26th. That's right, the countdown has officially begun. After years of anticipation, the project is finally on the horizon. And honestly, there's something bittersweet about it, because retirement albums always hit differently. They aren't just collections of songs, they're goodbye letters, they're reflections, they're final statements. They're opportunities for artists to tell fans exactly how they want to be remembered. And that's why expectations for this album are so high. This isn't just another release. This could be the final major chapter in one of hip-hop's most influential careers. What's interesting is that T.I. has been talking about retirement for a very long time. This wasn't a sudden decision. Years ago, he started discussing the idea of stepping away from music. At the time, some fans didn't believe him. Others assumed he would eventually change his mind. After all, rappers retire all the time, and then they come right back. But T.I. has remained consistent. Again and again, he's repeated the same message. The next album would be his last. And now it appears he's ready to follow through. What makes this story even more interesting is what T.I. wants to do after music. He's already explored acting, he's built businesses, he's become a family man, and more recently, he's been investing serious time into comedy. T.I. has openly discussed focusing more on family, grandchildren, and other passions outside of rap. For someone who spent decades chasing chart positions and recording sessions, that's a major life transition. And maybe that's what growing up looks like. Maybe success isn't always about doing more. Maybe success is reaching a point where you can finally choose what matters most. For T.I., that seems to be family. That seems to be peace. That seems to be creating a life beyond the recording booth. Of course, before he rides off into the sunset, he's making sure fans have something special to remember. Earlier this year, he released Let 'Em Know, a Pharrell-produced single that immediately got hip-hop fans talking. The energy felt familiar, the confidence felt familiar, the hunger felt familiar. It sounded like a veteran reminding everyone exactly who he is. And then there's the meaning behind the album title itself. Years ago, T.I. explained that calling yourself king comes with consequences. When you're the king, everyone wants your throne. Everyone wants your position. Everyone wants to challenge your status. In chess, the objective is simple: kill the king. That's where the title comes from. Not just a rap album, a statement, a reflection on the pressure that comes with wearing the crown for so many years. Honestly, that's what makes this album feel bigger than music. It's about legacy, it's about identity, it's about understanding who you are after the applause fades away. For decades, T.I. was the king, but what happens when the king decides to step down on his own terms? That's the question this album seems ready to answer. And fans are also getting another major moment this summer. T.I. recently announced the King Succession Tour alongside his sons, King and Damani. Even the tour's name feels symbolic: succession, passing the torch, moving into a new generation, allowing the next chapter to begin. There's something beautiful about that. Instead of simply walking away, T.I. appears determined to leave behind a legacy that extends beyond himself, a legacy rooted in family, a legacy rooted in Atlanta, a legacy rooted in hip-hop. And whether you're a lifelong fan or someone who just appreciates great music, it's hard not to respect that journey. Because one day, every artist performs their final show. Every artist records their final verse. Every artist releases their final album. Very few get the opportunity to plan that ending themselves. Very few get the opportunity to say goodbye exactly the way they want. T.I. appears determined to do just that. So now the countdown begins. June 26th, the day Kill the King finally arrives. And whether this truly ends up being T.I.'s final album or not, one thing is certain: hip-hop will be paying attention. Because when a legend closes a chapter, the entire culture stops and watches. And for T.I., this might be the most important chapter of all.